a great evening with eminent personalities amidst us who will be sharing their experiences. And through their sharing, hopefully, we will begin to understand that the most valuable possession you can own is an open heart, and the most powerful weapon you can be is an instrument of peace. Prayer doesn't change things, it changes us. If we are diligent in seeking God, slowly and surely we become better people. I call upon the college choir to lead us in the prayer song.
My heart, Lord, open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you. I want to see you. Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you. I want to see you. See you high and lifted up, shining in the light of your glory. Pour out your power and love as we sing, holy, holy, holy. To see you high and lifted up, shining in the light of your glory. Pour out your power and love as we sing, holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, holy. I want to see you. I want to see you.
Thank you, Father, for invoking God's blessings. Ring out the battle call of duty, unfurl the flag, faith and toil. We deem our soul's eternal beauty, a lifelong victor's worthy spoil. The college anthem will be rendered to us by the college choir.
Ring out the flag of duty, unfurl the flag of faith and joy. We deem our soul's eternal duty, a life of which His word is born. 1,000 such have proudly gone before us to witness our college renown. To such a song with the voices, the chorus, and with the deep and richer crown. Faith and joy, conquerors alliance, bring with us human hands unto God. In His control, find we to self-reliance. My hands and God to tear the odds. My hands and God to tear the odds. My hands and God's. He was once and hold in defiance.
For taking us through this. I like to call upon our dear principal, Reverend Dr. Father Victor Lobo, our registrar, Dr. Melvin Dicuna, Father Denzel Lobo SJ, Dr. Rabai, the vice principal, Professor Clement D'Souza, and our PRO, Professor Kiran Jeevan, Aryaman and Shoaib, to kindly come and light the lamp. It's also to inaugurate Open Heart 2021 through lighting the lamp. We have our guest, Ms. Deepika Das, who has just arrived. We will begin in 2 minutes. The meanwhile, kindly maintain all COVID protocols. Please keep 1 seat distance between all of you, and please do not remove your mask at any point of time. Thank you. Round of applause as our guest enters the auditorium. Welcome, ma'am. When you welcome love with your whole heart, soul, and body, love will welcome you with all its sweetness. All our dreams can come true if we have the courage to pursue it. The person who envisioned this program and worked towards making it a reality is none other than our very dynamic, enterprising, successful, inspiring PRO and professor of social work department, Professor Kiran Jeevan. I call upon him to bring to us a welcome address.
Respected Father Principal, our Registrar, Vice Principals, Father Denzel, my dear colleagues, friends, and students of this college and other college. Welcome to Open Heart 2021. This journey started 3 years ago, and I'm so grateful to God for His continued grace and favor on this event. As I was getting ready to write my welcome address this afternoon, I was reminded of a quote by Abraham Lincoln, who said, "Nearly all men can stand adversities, but if you want to test a man's character, give him power." This evening, you're going to be listening to 3 important people of power. Please put your hands together as we welcome warmly this evening Ms. Deepika Das, Indian actress. Thank you so much to you for being here this evening. Very soon, we will also welcome the presence of Sri Krishna Bhaira Gowda, MLA, and also the presence of Sri Narayana Murthy, who today will join us online because of the surge in COVID cases. In 2019, we had the presence of Mrs. Margaret Alva as our guest. In 2020, we had the presence of the former Speaker of the Lok Sabha, Mrs. Meera Kumar, Indian actress Ms. Meghna Raj, and Asia's strongest man, Mr. Manoj Chopra. Today, we're extremely grateful to have with us the presence of our principal, Father Victor Lobo. Thank you so much, Father, for being here this evening with us. We're also delighted to have the presence of our registrar, Dr. Melvin Palazzo. Thank you very much, sir, for being here this evening. I also recognize the presence of our vice principals, Professor Clement D'Souza and Dr. Rabai. Thank you very much, sir, for being here this evening. I also recognize the presence of Father Denzel Lobo, our IT director. Thank you so much. Our rector, Father Silva, will join us at 3:40. Please enjoy these untold stories of success, and please let yourself be inspired and in turn inspire others. I also warmly welcome today the members of the media. Thank you so much for being here and covering this evening. Also a very warm welcome to Dr. Joyce D'Souza, Professor Anup Lal, and Dr. Cherin Alexander, who are our moderators for this evening's program. Thank you so much, sir. Welcome to all the students. Thank you for joining us this evening. And God willingly, the 2022 Open Heart will be held on 22nd January 2032. Have a nice evening.
Beauty is being the best possible version of yourself on the inside and out. We are privileged to have Ms. Deepika Das, a beautiful, talented, and well-known Indian actress amidst us. Ma'am, I call you to say a few words.
Hi everyone. ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ಜೋಶ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತು. ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದವರು ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತಾಡಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋ ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ರೂಲ್ಸ್ ಅಥವಾ ಇಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಜೈಕಾರ ಹಾಕೋರು ಯಾರಾದ್ರೂ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ? ತುಂಬಾ ಖುಷಿ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ ಈ ಒಂದು ವೇದಿಕೆಗೆ ನನ್ನ ಗೆಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಕರೆಸಿರೋದು. And I'm very happy to see all of you after lockdown session ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ still going on but still ಲಾಕ್ಡೌನ್ ಆದ ನಂತರ ಈ ರೀತಿ ಒಂದು ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ಬರೋದು ಇಟ್ಸ್ ರಿಯಲಿ ಹ್ಯಾಪಿ. ಅಂಡ್ ಓಪನ್ ಹಾರ್ಟ್ ಈವೆಂಟ್ ಸಕ್ಸಸ್ಫುಲಿ ಕೆಲವು ವರ್ಷಗಳಿಂದ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಇಂಥ ಒಂದು ಈವೆಂಟ್ಗೆ like where you can openly you can say anything that motivates ಕೆಲವರಿಗೆ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅಥವಾ ಕೆಲವರಿಗೆ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಬರ್ಬೋದು ಕೂಡ ಈ ವಿಚಾರವಾಗಿ. ಸೊ ತುಂಬಾ ಖುಷಿ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ ಅಂಡ್ ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಸೋ ಮಚ್. ಸೊ ಓಪನ್ ಹಾರ್ಟ್ ಈವೆಂಟ್ ಅಂತ ನನಗೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ನೆನಪಾಗೋದು, ಈಗ ನಮ್ಮ ಚೈಲ್ಡ್ಹುಡ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಯಾವತ್ತಾದ್ರೂ ಯಾರಾದ್ರೂ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ಒಂದು ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಹೇಳಿ ಮುಗಿಸ್ತೀವಿ. ಬಟ್ ಎವ್ರಿವೇರ್ ನಾವಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಟೆಪ್, ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಸ್ಟೆಪ್ ಇಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಆ ವೆರಿ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಸ್ಟೆಪ್ ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ತುಂಬಾ ಕಷ್ಟ ಇರತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಆ ಕಷ್ಟ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಲೈಕ್ ಹೌ ಇಟ್ ಕಮ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಹೌ ವಿ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ಥ್ರೂ, ಅದನ್ನ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಮುಂದೆ ಹೇಗ್ ಬರ್ತೀವಿ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಆಲ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಲೈಫ್. ಸೊ ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಇವತ್ತು ಆಸ್ ಎ ಗೆಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂತ ಕರೆಸಿದ್ದೀರಾ. ಸೊ ಈವನ್ ಚಿಕ್ಕದಾಗಿ ನನ್ನ ಲೈಫಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೋ ಒಂದು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಕೂಡ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು ಬಿಗಿನಿಂಗ್ ಅಂತ ಇತ್ತು. ಸೊ ಆ ಬಿಗಿನಿಂಗ್ ಮೂಲಕ ನಾನು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ತನಕ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೆ ಅಂಡ್ ಆಲ್ ಯುವರ್ ಸಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಬ್ಲೆಸ್ಸಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. ಸೊ ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಸೋ ಮಚ್. ಸೊ ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಆಲ್ ದ ವೆರಿ ಬೆಸ್ಟ್ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ ಒನ್ಸ್ ಅಗೇನ್. ಸೊ ಇಫ್ ಎನಿಬಡಿ ವಾಂಟ್ಸ್ ಟು ಆಸ್ಕ್ ಮೀ ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್ ಕೈಂಡ್ಲಿ ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ಗೋ ಹೆಡ್. ಐ ಆಮ್ ವೆರಿ ಲೈಕ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕಡಿಮೆನೆ ಮಾತಾಡೋದು. ಇಫ್ ಎನಿಬಡಿ ವಾಂಟ್ಸ್ ಟು ನೋ ಎನಿಥಿಂಗ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಮೀ ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ಗೋ ಹೆಡ್. ಯಾರಿಗಾದ್ರೂ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಕೇಳುವಂಥದ್ದಿದೆಯಾ? ಈಗ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಕೆಲವರಿಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ವಿಚಾರಗಳು ಗೊತ್ತಿರುತ್ತೆ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಸೀನ್ ಮೀ ಇನ್ ಮೆನಿ ಶೋಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಟೆಲಿವಿಷನ್ ಕೂಡ ನೋಡಿರ್ತೀರಾ. ಸೊ ಇಫ್ ಎನಿಬಡಿ ಇಸ್ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟೆಡ್, ನಾಟ್ ಟು ಪರ್ಸನಲ್ ಬಟ್ ಸ್ಟಿಲ್ ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ನನ್ನ ಜರ್ನಿ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕೇಳಬೇಕು ಅಂತಿದ್ರೆ ಡೆಫಿನೆಟ್ಲಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಗೋ ಫಾರ್ ಇಟ್. That's okay.
Madam, what do you think is the most important thing in life?
I have to say this very importantly, patience to money important. So you have to have patience first to achieve anything. So according to me, it's patience. Okay, what the answer? That is what I believe in. So no. So thank you so much everyone and hope to see you all soon again in the same stage ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ಬರ್ತೀನಿ. So thank you.
We will definitely come back to ma'am because we have the session which will soon happen online. It's our honor and privilege to have Sri Narayana Murthy, founder of Infosys and also described as a father.
Connected. Anjali.
Sure. Can we have lights on the stage, please? Can we have lights on the stage?
Dr. Cherian Alexander, Professor, St. Joseph's College, will now take the session forward.
ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಲೈವ್ ಅಲ್ಲ ಫುಲ್ ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಆಗೋಗಿದೆ.
Years old this year. We are so happy that you have agreed to share your wisdom with us. And so, without further ado, let me begin by taking you to your childhood and your childhood experiences that have been shaping influences of your life. And you grew up just as India had become independent. So, what are some of the things that you can recall from those times that helped shape you? Yeah.
First of all, thank you very much for this opportunity. This is indeed a great college. I know very closely two individuals who passed out of this college. First one is, of course, my former CM, Mr. Mohandas Pai, one of the finest finance professionals that this country has produced, a great orator, a very well-read person. And second, of course, is one of, the top two Indian batsmen, that is Mr. Rahul Dravid. Now let me come back to this. My father was a high school teacher.
When to start the recording? Back to
He
not required.
had fed his
required.
children.
You don't want to
Yeah,
record?
the state
No,
diet of
he's recording the Zoom meeting.
socialism. We were into government
Ask him to record the
schools.
Zoom
We
meeting.
were lower middle class people.
Record the Zoom meeting.
We had
Zoom,
excellent
Zoom,
teachers.
okay, Subhash.
As
That is
youngsters, we had become staunch believers in socialism.
I'll tell him.
For us, government was the solution to every one of India's problems. The general belief in India at that time was that poverty was a virtue and leftism was the fashion of old. Of course, we went from one small town in Karnataka to another, Tumkur, Srinivasapur, Mandya, Madhuri, and Mysore. We were 8 children, 3 boys and 5 girls. There was a reasonable level of poverty, but there was a lot of joy. Father would talk every night at dinner about wonderful new projects that Nehru was contemplating, like Pokhran Dam, steel plants, atomic energy, IITs, colleges for medical sciences, etc. He would speak very proudly about how independent India would become a strong nation. When I was a child, my dream was to be a civil servant. Later on, I changed it to become an engineer. I'll stop.
When was it that the idea of starting your own company struck you? And what were the situations and circumstances when that happened? And also, how did your time in IIT Kanpur and IIM Ahmedabad play a role in starting your entrepreneurship journey?
My aspiration to become an entrepreneur came sometime during my stay in Paris City when I was working in Paris in early 70s, and also during the journey from Paris to Mysore. It came from my belief that the only way a country like India can solve the problem of poverty is by creating jobs with good income. I also realized that this can be done only by entrepreneurs in the private sector and not by any government. The responsibility of the government, I realized, was to create an environment that encourages these entrepreneurs to create more and more better and better paying jobs by removing any and every hurdle for these entrepreneurs. As I pointed out, I learned this important lesson in 1970 when I was working in Paris. I had discussions with experts in the ideologies of the left, the right, and the center at Sorbonne University. As you know, Sorbonne is a very famous university in the world. These ideas were strengthened by my visits to Western European cities and by my experiences during the hitchhiking trip I took from Paris to Mysore, in Western Europe, in Eastern Europe, including the Soviet Union, in the Middle East, Iran, and agriculture during the 70s. I was transformed from a confused leftist to a determined, compassionate capitalist, thanks to an unpleasant brush with the police for no fault of mine in a place called Nisht in what was then Serbia, or what was then Yugoslavia, now Serbia. That has been my inspiration. Since I was a strong leftist during my student days and in my early career, neither IIT Kanpur nor IIM Ahmedabad played any role in my entrepreneurship. Let me stop here.
You started your company with a very small amount of capital, that is 10,000 rupees. And then from there, from that small beginning, it has risen to become one of the world's greatest companies today. So what were the challenges you had to face at the time when the IT sector itself was relatively new in the Indian market?
Well, there were many challenges. Our main obstacle in India at that time was the friction to business created by our own bureaucracy. It took 7 years to get a telephone connection. It took 2 years and about 20 visits to Delhi to get a license to import a computer. It took another 9 to 12 months and about 10 visits to Delhi to get it modified when a new, more powerful but a cheaper model was available in the US. It took 2 weeks to obtain foreign exchange to travel abroad from the Reserve Bank of India. Even if I wanted to go abroad for a day for business, the banks did not understand what software was, and there were no venture capitalists in India at that time. There was a bureaucrat sitting in Delhi called the Controller of Capital Issues. He had no idea what the capital markets were. He rarely allowed any premium on stock price for listing. So IPO was not worth it at all. On the positive side, the export market for software services was expanding rapidly in the US. There were very few competitors in the US and in India. Talent was plenty since unemployment was very, very high among engineers in India. Let me stop here.
So, your efforts and that of your team and the fact that you brought together a whole lot of talented people meant that you gave a boost to young people's motivation in this country, and that has transformed this country. Now the thing is that that also brought you a lot of wealth, and you ended up as a billionaire. But then again, as you earlier pointed out about a compassionate capitalism. So in connection with that, what has shaped your perspective towards money and values connected with money, and also family, and how your family has been involved also in the process?
It is one's culture that brings about a balance between riches and values. I was brought up in a lower middle class family, as I pointed out earlier. We had enough to eat, but nothing more.
I had just one set of clothes which I washed myself every Sunday. So we had gotten used to living with austerity. We were not at all highly elated when money came to us. My father used the example of Mahatma Gandhi to impress upon us the importance of simple living and leadership by example. I think that is the most important lesson I learned. My father also taught me the importance of hard work, discipline, being contented. I learned generosity, compassion, and sharing with the less fortunate ones from my mother. My high school headmaster, Sri K.V. Narayan, taught me the importance of putting the interests of the community ahead of personal interest. One of my bosses in Paris taught me the importance of starting every transaction on a zero base and also taking bottom line responsibility. My parents impressed upon us that what is most important in life are education and good values. So we were not at all very much influenced by money. And even our children have been brought up like this by my wife. So therefore, I would say it was not at all a big deal for us that we have a little bit of money to spend. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. You've been an example, Infosys Foundation especially, is a great example of what good philanthropy is all about. And we hope that many more will follow that example. Sir, last question to you.
Yeah.
What would be your advice to the budding entrepreneurs of our country? And what would be the 3 things that a person should always look out for in the corporate world?
Yeah. Well, as part of this answer, I want to play you people a song. It is from a movie called Ganga Jamuna, which was released 60 years ago, 1961. This was the song played by our Sanskrit teacher. He was an extraordinary individual when I was in my university. So you will enjoy that. But before that, so therefore you will have to enable me to screen share with you people. Now let me answer your question, the first part, before I play the song. Some of you will become entrepreneurs. You will transform this world in ways that I cannot imagine. My best wishes to you. Entrepreneurship, as you people know, is about transforming, is about the transforming power of an idea into jobs and wealth. To succeed as an entrepreneur, you need to do the following 3 things. First, have an idea which has never occurred to anybody else in the world. Such ideas create what we call discontinuity in the marketplace. Facebook, Google, Microsoft, Uber, Amazon, and Netscape are all good examples of such ideas. However, such ideas are very rare. Most ideas improve on existing ideas. Right. If your idea is one of those ideas that improve on existing ideas, make sure that your idea outperforms all existing ideas in cost, in productivity, in comfort, and cycle time. Second, you must be able to express the power of your idea in a simple sentence and not a complex and compound sentence. No ifs and buts in expressing the idea. Third, conduct an inexpensive, quick, and simple test marketing to assess whether your idea has the market. Now, I just want to tell you a few things that I have heard from very, very famous people. First, remember that modern slaves are not in chains, but they are in debt. In other words, nations that are in debt are like slaves. So therefore, my advice to you people is to work hard to ensure that our country does not get into serious debt. Second, no matter how well you are educated, how talented you are, how rich and cool you are, what matters is how you treat people less fortunate than you are. Third, in life, it is important to know when to stop arguing and let that other party be wrong. Next, do not trust everything you see. For example, even salt looks like sugar. So therefore, trust but verify. Next one, a ship is safest in the harbor, but it's not meant to be there. It has to, it has to sail into stormy waters to reach the comfort of a desirable destination. In other words, you have to take care. Next, a smart person, this is what I think Dalai Lama said, a smart person knows what to say, but a wise person knows whether to say it at all. Remember. Now, the final one before I play the song is this. Men fight for liberty and win it with lot of sacrifice, lot of hard work, and with several hard knocks. Their children are brought up easy, but they let it slip away. They let the freedom slip away. And their grandchildren once again become slaves. Therefore, my friends, freedom is very precious. Your forefathers sacrificed so much and won the freedom for this country. Therefore, please work hard, please be disciplined, perform well, and make the country strong. Now let me try and play my favorite song. I hope, yeah, excellent. Now let me try. Just yes. Just a minute. No, it says, I don't think you people have allowed me. I think there is some problem from your side.
We will check, sir. Just a minute, sir. We will check.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Just
it should be working now. Just try.
Is that for some reason? Have you allowed it?
It has been allowed, sir. You are the host actually now.
Yeah, let me see. This is a new laptop and maybe there is some privacy. Oh, I know. Looks like. No, I think I don't want to waste your time. There is an issue because there's a a new laptop. This is the first time I'm using. And unfortunately, the privacy settings have not been set properly. But what I would say is that please work hard. You're going to be the leaders of the future. Be disciplined. Try for excellence. Compete globally, because every other nation is trying to do better and better. Whatever we can learn from China, we should learn. We may not like China, that's a different issue. But in my own lifetime, China has created 250 million jobs. In my own lifetime, China has become the #1 in the world in exports. So therefore, all of that has happened because of a simple reason. They work very hard, they're very disciplined, they have pride in the country, and they have ensured that China keeps succeeding day after day after day. I still remember about 12 years ago, I went to Beijing in 2008, just before the Olympics. And everything was spanking, everything was unbelievably clean, everything was fantastic. So I asked the immigration person, how is it? And she said, sir, we are Chinese. So therefore, I think there is pride. Therefore, that pride has to translate to hard work, discipline, sacrifice, etc., etc. Therefore, that's all what I would say. I thank you very much for this opportunity. Please remember that you are the people who are going to make this country great. I'll tell you a small story. There was a Polish author who was, I believe, migrating to the US about 120 years. On the ship, everybody was telling him, oh, streets of New York are paved with gold, fantastic, all of that. So in his book, he writes in the first page, when I landed at Ellis Island, those days Ellis Island was the port where people landed. There were no airplanes, nothing. He says, I learned 3 things. One, the streets of New York were not paved with gold. And second, the streets of New York were not paved at all. And number 3, I was the one who was brought in to pave the streets of New York.
Oh, wonderful.
So therefore, please remember that it is the duty of every one of us to make this country a great place. Please do that. My best wishes to you people, and thanks a lot. Take care.
Thank you very much, sir.
Keep it up.
Yeah.
I hope we will produce another Mohandas Pai and another Rahul Dravid pretty soon from your college.
Yes, sir. I'm sure that's possible.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.
From humble beginnings to being one of the greatest entrepreneurs. Sure, we all have a model before us. I remember one of his quotes, and he says, the real power of money is the power to give it away. He has been driven by the passion to create a better society for our future citizens. And students gathered here, definitely he has set the bar high. He has told us to work hard, compassion for the poor, and also make our contributions to make this world a better place. I'd like to thank Dr. Cherian Alexander, Professor St. Joseph's College, for those very relevant questions and for also moderating this session so well as always you do, sir. You are also an inspiration to us. Thank you. Be a yardstick of quality. Some people aren't used to an environment where excellence is expected. We have such a dynamic leader amidst us who believes in constructive engagement, in excellence, and in unity in diversity. I call upon Professor Anup Lal, Professor St. Joseph's College, to introduce our speaker, Shri Krishna Baire Gowda, and invite him to bring on stage. Be a 2-minute delay. Please bear with us. Thank you.
Christ, I was really at a crossroads, at cusp. My life could have gone any which way because the previous 2-3 years had been sort of aimless. There was no purpose to what I was doing. But once I got into Christ, thanks to some of the very good teachers, staff that were there, gradually I came on track. I joined Christ having failed in my PU exams, but I went out of Christ pretty much at the top of my segment. But in the process, I also got a bit more serious about my life. I joined MBA afterwards, but not with a specific purpose of completing MBA. But those days to go to America, you need 16 years of prior education. But nevertheless, I went to US to do my MA, Master of Arts. In India, the problem was that you could join a MA course only if you were from the liberal arts background, meaning if you had done a BA, Bachelor of Arts course. The only exception in the country was JNU and maybe a few other institutes. And I tried JNU, I could not get into JNU. It's very competitive and I was not at that level. So the choice left to me was because if I wanted to pursue MA, and specifically I was interested in international relations, and more specifically in international political economy. That was my chosen field. So I had to go abroad. And that also I chose that line because I wanted to get into international development sector, whether international or local, but into development sector. And I wanted to be educationally qualified to pursue not a career, but do something in the service sector, in development sector. And what better way to start my involvement in the development sector other than to get an MA in international political economy and development, and also do an internship in a place like Ethiopian Embassy, where a lot of these challenges of development were being played out in mid-90s. Today, Ethiopia is somewhat developed. In the mid-90s, it was one of the most impoverished countries in the world. So with this intention, I started there. Then subsequently, when I got a job, that was again in an organization called Development Alternatives. So they were also into rural development sector. I don't know how many students understand that there is something called a development sector, which is completely outside your uh, corporate sector, outside your any commercial establishment, which is just into development of rural areas, development of any aspect of life. So I was always interested in getting ultimately into development activities. So that was the reason that from Christ I went to uh, my university AU in Washington DC. I did the necessary courses, and then I joined the Ethiopian Embassy for an internship, and then I made my way into an organization called Development Alternatives Inc., which was into development activities. So the whole thing, though it may not make sense to you if you follow step by step, but ultimately there was a purpose to it, which was to enable me to get into development sector.
Thank you very much. So you never stayed back in America. You came down to India.
Can I correct right there, or you want me to hear the full question? I stayed till I finished my masters, did a couple of internships, one at Ethiopian Embassy, then I worked at a think tank, Center for Policy Studies, if I remember correctly. And then I returned to India. And for about 3 years, I was doing agriculture. We are agriculturists, basically. I'm from a village in Kolar district. My mother is an agriculturist. So I went and I started our family agriculture. Did that for 3 years. Then the twist in the story is that I got married, but my wife was in US. So after getting married, and she was not ready to come back to India yet. So for a few years, I thought, let me go back to US so that she can continue working in US. Went back to US, got job in that development alternatives that I mentioned about, started working there, and then we had an accident in the family for which I had to come back. So there was a bit of back and forth. So now you can complete your question.
In fact, many people from your constituency, which is now a urban constituency, feel you are always a farmer at heart. You are the MLA of one of the most developed constituencies of Bangalore, but you are an agriculturist. But one difference is you became an agricultural entrepreneur with all modernization, etc. You showed people that agriculture can be a very, very good, fulfilling job. Few words of motivation, because there are many students here from rural background. In case they want to get back and become an agricultural entrepreneur, in spite of your American education, that's the first job you did when you came back to India.
So yeah, as I was saying, basically I'm from an agricultural family. For generations, we have been from that farmer families, and today also our family profession is agriculture. And prior to becoming an MLA from Batrayanpura, which is part of Bangalore, I was actually MLA twice from a rural part of Kolar, and that constituency was called Vemagar. So twice there and 3 times here. So I'm from a rural background, essentially, though part of my growing up was in Bangalore. And so many people were surprised when I initially became a minister in 2013 that many people do not know my whole background. They only know that I'm an MLA from Bangalore. So when in the then government, my party assigned me agriculture portfolio as a minister, many people were surprised. What is this guy? This guy is like US educated, and his constituency is in Bangalore. And what competence does he have to handle agriculture portfolio? But I am an agriculturist. I have done agriculture myself. Now, agriculture is a bit stagnant. The thinking and wisdom behind assigning that responsibility to me was to perhaps inject some dynamism into our government's approach to agriculture. A lot of changes are required. Indian agriculture has made considerable progress, but still a lot of progress potential is there. And that potential we are unable to tap. And I think the wisdom was that they brought me into that portfolio to tap some of that potential by bringing in changes, by mechanizing agriculture, by tapping new markets, by introducing reforms in agriculture sector. And that was my assignment. And throughout those 5 years, which I handled the agriculture portfolio, I brought in mechanization. We reformed agriculture markets. We tapped new market segments like organic produce, millets. We introduced millets in Karnataka. Now the millet movement is actually, which started from Karnataka, has gone global. United Nations has declared 2023 as the International Year of Millets. So a movement that started from Karnataka has now gone global, and I'm proud to say we started it during our time. So a peasant's food, millets are peasant's food like ragi, choda, navade. All these are poor person's foods. Now they have actually becoming rich man's saviors. So things like this. So we brought new ideas into the agriculture sector, and I'm quite happy about what we did during those 5 years. We did a lot of work on rainwater harvesting and using the rainwater to bring sustainability into agriculture. So a lot of new ideas we managed to bring in, and that was the purpose I was in agriculture ministry. And surprisingly, so I did 5 years full of agriculture ministry, which was a rural-oriented responsibility. Now again, when our coalition came back to power, though I am an MLA from Bangalore, again I was made a minister, but this time I was given rural development. So again, people were like, "What is this? You are an urban man, but you are repeatedly getting rural responsibilities." But again, I think the wisdom was that I was more competent to handle rural development issues, and I enjoyed working. It's a tremendous learning experience working in agriculture sector, working in rural development. Unbelievably learning experience for me personally. It has led to a lot of my own growth. But of course, I continue to deal with urban issues because I'm an urban MLA. And hopefully in future, I'll get to work on urban issues also at the state level. Let's see what future has in store for me.
Thank you. Sir, I'll make a statement followed by a question. We know about the time constraint. We know you have rushed your constituency.
Fine. Take your time.
So, when you won the election for the first time, of course, people did say, yeah, it's dad's labor. Powerful politician's son easily won the election from a rural constituency. Okay. Again, you won the election. Again, you won the election. From the rural as well as from the urban constituencies. You excelled as one of the youngest ministers of any Indian state. I see a parallel here. From our college, St. Joseph's College, we had M.Y. Ghorpade, who was the first president of our students' union. He became the youngest finance minister and Panchayat Raj minister of any Indian state. He did an excellent job. The combination was unique, finance as well as Panchayat Raj. And you, rural development and law and parliamentary affairs. Both of you very young. Both of you did an excellent job, least controversial political leaders from the young blood. Now, does it mean more than experience, hard work plus very good homework counts? Because both of you were grand success, comparatively young, and very contradictory ministers, rural development, parliamentary affairs. In the case of Ghorpade, finance, Panchayat Raj. Your comments on this, please.
Most Indian politicians are jack of all trades. We are not, very few of us are subject specialists. We are required to be generalists because in public life, I can't pick and choose the issues that I will engage with. Whatever are the people's issues, I must engage with them. So we must learn to work on all aspects, right? So I have handled agriculture, rural development. I've also handled Panchayat Raj, law, parliamentary affairs, and I've also dealt with finance. I was a member of the GST Council I represented Karnataka at the national level. So to answer your question, I think if we can seriously apply our mind, there is nothing that we can get a grasp on. We go in with little knowledge, but we must be humble enough to admit that there is a lot I can learn. And if you go in with that mindset, no matter your age, you can understand a lot of things, you can gain a grasp, and you can be very effective, meaning you can be successful at whatever you do in public life. Provided you go with an ability or you go with a mindset that I want to learn and I want to be the best at what I do. So if you go with that attitude, I think we can master anything. And many people I have seen now, our former Chief Minister, Siddaramaiah, has presented about 13 budgets in Karnataka. It's the highest number of budgets anybody has presented. He is not a finance expert. He, in fact, comes from a legal background. But I think it is the willingness to apply oneself to the task on hand and learn while you are doing it and improve yourself every day. That will enable anybody. I think you guys also going forward in future, all of you will face different circumstances, different situations. But if you immerse yourself into that situation, you can master any situation. That's my experience, and that's what I would share with it. Deep dive into it, humble enough to admit that I need to learn a lot of things as I do, and humble enough to learn from people around you. And that will enable you to succeed whatever you're doing. That's my experience.
Thank you. We are almost coming to the end of the program, so we'll wind up with this. When the assembly is not in session, you are also not in the office of your assembly constituency. You are supposed to be always on the move. Now, after this function, I know you are rushing back to Datranpura. Is this the reason why Datranpura is very clean, well maintained, well managed? Because I'm from Hebbal constituency. I'm very familiar with your constituency and little jealous of your constituency.
No, there are a lot of, I'll be the first one to admit, there are a lot of problems in my constituency also, and there are areas where a lot of improvement is still required. There are some areas we have managed to get a firm handle on, no doubt. I see that. But there are also areas which just got added to Bangalore about 10 years ago, where the development needs are not fully met. So we are working on those areas now. But there's a lot of work in progress in my constituency also. And but beyond that, I think, anyways, since we are interacting with a young audience, oftentimes people have the impression that their elected representatives, particularly MLAs, are conspicuous by their absence, meaning they're mostly absent. That's not the case. Today, things have changed. We can't take our constituents and constituencies for granted. People are very demanding today. They may respect authority, but that respect is only till a certain extent, beyond which people have no hesitancy in taking anybody to task. Be it MLA, minister. As minister, I've traveled the entire length and breadth of Karnataka. And I have been stopped in my tracks and asked tough questions by very, very common people. I would not say ordinary, but they're just common people. Women, you have to come with me to believe how vocal women are in demanding their rights, be it urban infrastructure or other requirements. Today, people are very demanding. So, if people are demanding, that means that we as elected representatives have to run that much faster to meet their demands. So as a result, over the last 20 years, there has been a significant transformation in the way legislators, elected representatives behave. So they are a lot more involving with the constituencies. They engage constituencies on a daily basis, not just me. Other MLAs also, they try to spend a lot of time on the ground. You are making a comparison with the legislative sessions. Actually, if you ask MLAs, which is your priority? As a legislator, do you want to spend more time inside the legislature doing legislative activities, or you want to spend more time in the constituency? Majority of them would say they want to spend time in the constituency dealing with public problems, because constituents have become very demanding. It applies to all of us. Of course, when I say this, there may be many of the listeners may not be able to connect with it, because the most often perception is that their MLAs are not available. They are not there. They are just absent. They are not carrying. That is not the case. My constituency has about close to 5 lakh voters, right? 5 lakh voters. So that means a population of 7, 8, 9 lakh people. Now, the expectations of all those are very high. It is, in fact, much more than what I can meet. So, as a result, there is certain gap in the level of expectations and what we are able to fulfill. There is a gap between the two. But the point I'm trying to make is that we have to run ever faster to keep up with the expectations of the people. Otherwise, not only getting re-elected, but our day-to-day life is also challenged by people every day. So accountability levels have really improved in Indian system. And again, I repeat myself. Some of you may not appreciate that, but that's the reality. So yes, I have to run to constituency. I have to spend more time in the constituency. I have to go around. Today itself, I have met nothing less than 500, 700 people from morning till now. Now, when I go back now, I again have a program in a locality. So yes, we are on the move all the time, and we are trying to engage as much as we can. Some things we are able to do, some we are not. But every day we got to pick up from where we left the previous day and try to push people's issues a little further along the way.
Thank you very much. Mr. Kiran, do we have time for the questions?
Yeah, I can take another one or two questions.
We have constraints of time, so the organizer has allowed just 2 questions to Sri Krishna Bairekar. Volunteers, can the mic be passed there? Yeah, volunteers, please take charge.
One girl, one boy.
Yeah, please hurry up.
Sir, how did you involve in politics and what made you to involve in politics?
So, yeah, that's a very deflating answer. Because some of you see that, how did this guy manage to get into politics? Some of you may have thought very good things. But my answer might deflate some of it. My father was in public life. He was a very senior leader in Karnataka. When I was living in US, he passed away, and I came for his funeral. And it so happened that the people in my then constituency, which is in Kolar district, were very insistent that I contest in the by-election that immediately followed. I was a reluctant politician. The whole reason I had stayed away was that to stay away from electoral politics. But nevertheless, the love and affection that people in that constituency had for our family was enormous, and that was something that we could not say no to, and that's how I contested by election. But also, having said that, though I had stayed away from electoral politics, I was always a politically conscious individual. The whole reason I had chosen development as my pursuit in life was because development was about development of people, of societies. So at a different level, though not electorally, at a different level, I was always a political human. Uh, but circumstances brought me into public life. So that was long time ago. Now that constituency doesn't exist. Though initially getting elected first time, my father's legacy was a big help to me. But subsequently, I'm currently serving my fifth elected term as a legislator. So to get re-elected, I have to prove myself every few years. And I left that constituency, came as a complete newcomer to a constituency in Bangalore. I got elected from there. I twice contested for parliament unsuccessfully. So in a matter of about 18 years, I have fought 7 elections altogether. And so part of it, thanks to my father's legacy, but part of it, I have also proven myself on the job. And that is the reason I'm sitting in front of you today, because I made use of the opportunity that was given to me, but built something out of it, made something my own. And what keeps me in public life is that it's a very challenging life, no doubt. Every life, every career, every profession is very challenging. There are ups and downs. And in public life, we have our own share. Some people love you, but some people also are equally critical of you. And people are critical and sometimes justified, sometimes not justified. It stings you. It stings you badly. But nevertheless, what keeps us going is that if we use the power we have, if we use the access to authorities that we have, we can actually bring about a lot of meaningful change in the lives of people. And every day we see that we have made some difference, some positive difference to other people. And that's what motivates us to keep us going despite the challenges. So ups and downs, but nevertheless, the positive change we bring about and the smiles that we bring to the lives of people, those smiles inspire us to keep going with greater vigor every day. And that's what motivates us, and that's what gives us the strength to continue the work we do. I think it's the love and affection ultimately that we get from people that keeps us going.
Thank you, sir. There's one more question from the ladies.
So we need to connect to the previous, my illustrious previous speaker. So basically, because there is no job creation in rural areas, employment is very, barely nil, we can say. So due to lack of employment opportunities, and since urban centers are only the growth centers, people migrate to urban areas. So if you ask me what is the solution, I think we need, at least if not rural areas, if not villages, there are many cities in Karnataka which must become growth engines. And this applies to the rest other states also, not just Karnataka. Now, a lot of the migrants to Bangalore actually, of the 100 migrants to Bangalore, only 30 will be from other parts of Karnataka. The 70 are from the rest of India. Actually, Bangalore is a pan-India city now. There are more non-Kannadigas in Bangalore than Kannadigas, and people have made their livelihoods here. It's purely because people get jobs in other major cities in rural areas, be it in Karnataka, Bihar, Odisha, Jharkhand, where have you. Unless we are able to create jobs in a decentralized manner, we cannot stop migration. Ultimately, the problems created in mega cities like Bangalore, which are, some of them are primarily due to overpopulation in cities like Bangalore. So the solutions to problems of cities like Bangalore actually lie outside Bangalore, because at this pace we can never keep pace with the developmental requirements. Always city is growing faster than we can keep pace. So the solution to our problems actually lies outside cities like Bangalore, meaning in rural areas where we must develop those areas create jobs there and bring infrastructure to those areas so that people have a lesser incentive or a greater incentive to stay where they are staying. If we fail to do that, in search of employment, people will continue to migrate to these cities, and that will further jeopardize the situation in mega cities. So ultimately, it's about development of primarily even infrastructure. Lack of infrastructure, people will tolerate in rural areas if you can provide jobs. So it's about jobs, and unfortunately, of late, in the last few years, job creation has slowed down in our country. And unless we reverse that trend and bring back job creating growth initiatives, this problem will not get solved. Of course, there was a temporary problem, temporary solution, a transitory solution. That was Manrega. I don't know if you have heard of Manrega, which is Mahatma Gandhi Rural Employment Guarantee Act, or a Rural Employment Guarantee Program, which is praised by United Nations. Hundreds of countries have praised the program, and the intention of that program was to provide the most job deprived people in the rural areas some means of job and livelihood. So people can work under the Manrega program and they will get about 250 rupees daily wage. So this is meant only to protect the really vulnerable people. But beyond that, people have aspirations. They want a decent job. Instead of toiling in the field, even if it means wearing a security guard's uniform and standing at the door, people don't mind doing that, and that is what is attracting many rural Indians to urban areas. I think again I'm repeating myself. The solution is to bring jobs to rural India. Until then, this will not stop. And once that happens, you will see cities will be better and rural areas will be better.
Thank you. We just don't have time. We have to wind up.
No exception for men. If there is any girl who wants to ask, maybe. One exception for it. Women should. Okay, yeah, should. Yeah. Yes, go ahead. Go ahead. I was member of the GST Council in 2016 and 17. I'm no more a member of it. Up until 2019, I was a member. Now I'm in the opposition, so hence I cannot be a member because only ministers can represent the state. I think it's a tough call for the current governments to take, whether it is in GST or not. On the case of petrol and diesel, what people want are lower taxes. So my request to government is, you want to bring it into GST, fine. If you don't want to bring it into GST, that's also fine. But the last few years, taxation, central government taxation on diesel has gone up by 9 times, 900%. 900% in the last 4 or 5 years. And on petrol, it has gone up by nearly 350%, 3.5 times. So the lot of the price rise of petrol and diesel that people are being burdened with today is not because of international crude oil prices. It is because of heavy taxation from the central government side. So my answer to your question is, inside GST, outside GST, irrespective of it, just bring the taxes down on petrol and diesel and reduce the burden on the common people. That's my appeal to the governments. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So thank you.
We are winding up, and this year your birthday falls on Easter Sunday. On behalf of my principal and all the faculty and students present here, in advance, wishing you a very happy, blessed birthday, that too on Easter Sunday. Have a great year, sir. There is one formality before we sign off. You are requested to sign this mark with
okay, sure.
Yeah, that's the convention.
Thank you. I thank Joseph's management and the students who have invited me here and given me some time to just reflect a bit, because these are reflect opportunities for us also to reflect. Oftentimes our life is so fast paced, there is no time to pause and think. But when you ask us questions, it encourages us to reflect. So even after this, when the session is over, some of the questions, whether you asked or they asked, it helps us to reflect on what we are doing and try and improve ourselves. And always this is a learning opportunity for me. I wish I had more time to take more questions from students, which is actually more, I think it more would be more meaningful than answering very, but nevertheless, we must respect your time and the time of the schedule and the organizers. But it's a great opportunity, and it's a wonderful opportunity to share thoughts with younger minds. As Mr. Narayan Murthy said, they are the future, and if somewhere our reflections help them along their way, it's a small service that we can do. I wish you all, I wish you guys all a very great future, great career, and I wish all your dreams come true, whatever it is. One word that I picked from Mr. Narayan Murthy was, I think, pursuit, pursuing whatever we want to do, and I think he was repeatedly stressing hard work. And I think only one word I would add to what he was saying: pursuit of excellence. No matter what I do, I must try to be the best at what I do. I think that will always take us a long way in our lives. So I wish you all the best, and thank you.
Thank you, Will. Sir, that was some honest and modest confessions. You truly live up to the quote by Mahatma Gandhi: you have to be the change you want to see. And you truly have inspired our young people with the techniques that you have implemented, especially in the area of agriculture and rural development. India needs more leaders like you with ideas of humility, hard work, and credibility. I call upon our dear principal, Dr. Father Victor Lobo, and our registrar, Dr. Melvin Colasso, to kindly felicitate our guest of honor and our moderator. Thank you, sir, for moderating the session. I'd like to call upon Ms. Deepika Das on stage, Dr. Joyce D'Souza, Father Denzel Lobo SJ, Professor Clement sir, to please come for a picture. Dr. Rabai sir, can you please come on stage for a picture? I now call upon our moderator, Dr. Joyce D'Souza, to take forward the session.
St. Joseph's College Autonomous has been endeavoring, successfully so, over 139 years of grooming students and making them men and women for others. In the spirit of Majus. Majus means more or greater. It is related to Ad Maiorem Dei Gloriam, for the greater glory of God. Just yesterday, we celebrated the feast of St. Joseph, our patron saint. His life taught us on how to do ordinary things in life in an extraordinary way. In this regard, okay, to bring to our students people who have excelled in their respective careers are brought here so that they will get to know a whole lot of achievements that can come your way through sheer hard work and commitment. One such person is here with us, Miss Deepika Raj. Deepika Das. She is from Hassan, Karnataka, very close to Namma Bengaluru. Her schooling was in Jain International Residential School, graduation in Fashion Communication from NIFT, Karnataka. She has a whole list of movies and a couple of serials that she is acted in. Some of her movies are Rangan Style, E Manase, Jyoti alias Koti Raj. Know what Koti is? Excellent. Monkey. Yeah. Dream Girl. This is a 2017 movie. It's not a Bollywood movie. She became popular and she became a household name through the Kannada fantasy TV series Nagini. She is also acted in a drama film, and finally she's reached the household of Karnataka as a participant in Big Boss Kannada Season 7 in 2019. There's lots more for us to know about her, which we will learn through the course of this conversation. Shall we start? Sure, yes. Now, it's been an adventurous journey for you. Till a few years ago, you were on the other side of the stage in an auditorium, like these students who are sitting here, and now you're on this side. How are you feeling? What is it that is, you want to talk to them and tell them your first thoughts that come to your mind when you're on this side of the stage?
Definitely, it feels so great. Maybe I think ನಾನು ಈ ಸ್ಟೇಜ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದು ಫ್ರಮ್ ದ ಫೀಲ್ಡ್ ಸಿನಿಮಾ ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರಿಯಿಂದ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕುತ್ಕೊಳ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ ಡೆಫಿನೆಟ್ಲಿ ಐ ನೆವರ್ ಎವರ್ ಥಾಟ್. ಸೊ ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ ಟು ಬೀಂಗ್ ಅನ್ ಆಕ್ಟ್ರೆಸ್.
ನೀವು ಆ ಕಡೆ ಕೂತಿದ್ದಾಗ ಆಸ್ ಅ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್, ಡಿಡ್ ಯು ಎವರ್ ಥಿಂಕ್ that you will be in the movies, on the TV sets of the households of Karnataka? Did you ever think that, did you even dream of it back those days?
No, definitely not. That's what I wanted to tell. ಸೊ ನಾನು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕುತ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾಗ ವೆನೆವರ್ ನಾನು ಈ ತರ ಒಂದು ಸೆಷನ್ಸ್ ಗಳು ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆದಾಗ ಐ ಯೂಸ್ ಟು ಆಲ್ವೇಸ್ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಆಫ್ ಮೈ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಷನ್. ದಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ಮೈ ಡ್ರೀಮ್. ಐ ವಾಂಟೆಡ್ ಟು ಬಿಕಮ್ ಅ ಪೈಲಟ್. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ಮೈ ಅಲ್ಟಿಮೇಟ್ ಡ್ರೀಮ್ ಆಲ್ ದ ಟೈಮ್. So this was definitely unfortunate, like unexpectedly I came to this field as an actor and I started continuing. Somewhere Deepika Das and the pilot agire definitely ಯಾರಿಗೂ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತಾ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ. Cinema industry is something blessed, and I am blessed with this field. ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಫೀಲ್ಡ್ ಇಂದ ನಾನು ಬಂದು ದೀಪಿಕಾ ದಾಸ್ ಕೂಡ ಒಬ್ಳು ಆಕ್ಟ್ರೆಸ್. ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದ ಒಂದು ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಇಂದ ಬಂದಿರುವಂತ ಒಂದು ಹುಡುಗಿಯಿಂದ ಗುರುತಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಅವಕಾಶ ಆಯ್ತು. ಸೊ ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಟುಡೇ ಇಸ್ ಆ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ ಲೈಫ್ ಇಂದ ತಗೊಂಡ್ ಬಂದಿರುವಂತ ಜರ್ನಿ ಒಂದು ಮೆಮೊರಿ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಅಥವಾ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದಾಗ ನಾನು ಪಾರ್ಟಿಸಿಪೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಂತಹ ಒಂದಷ್ಟು ಈವೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರಬಹುದು. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕುತ್ಕೊಂಡು ನನ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಕಾನ್ಫಿಡೆನ್ಸ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ನನ್ನನ್ನು ನಾನು ಮೋಟಿವೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಿದ್ದಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು. ಸೊ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ರೀಸನ್ ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಹೇಳೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಇಷ್ಟಪಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಸೊ ದಟ್ಸ್ ವೈ ಐ ಸ್ಟಿಲ್ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ ಲೈಫ್ನ ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ತುಂಬಾ ನೆನ್ಪು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತೀನಿ. ಸೊ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ ಲೈಫ್ ನನಗೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಎನ್ಕರೇಜ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ, ನಾಟ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಆಸ್ ಏನೋ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ ಲೈಫ್
ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಸಿಪೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತು ನನಗೆ. ಮಾಡೆಲಿಂಗ್ ಅಸೈನ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ and all in your younger days.
So there's a small correction, ma'am. I studied in Ammanis, not James. So Ammani College and ಎಷ್ಟು ಜನ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ ಇಂಟರ್ ಕಾಲೇಜ್ ಫೆಸ್ಟ್ ಅಥವಾ ಇಂಟರ್ ಕಾಲೇಜ್ ಈವೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ನಡೆದಾಗ there used to be a Ammani's fashion show ಎಲ್ಲ ನಡೀತಾ ಇತ್ತು, and there used to be a lot of ಇಂಟರ್ ಕಾಲೇಜ್ ಒಂದಷ್ಟು ಕಾಂಪಿಟೇಷನ್ಸ್ ನಡೀತಾ ಇತ್ತು. ಸೊ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಪಾರ್ಟಿಸಿಪೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ. ಸೊ ದಟ್ಸ್ ಹೌ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಪೈಲಟ್ ಆಗೋ ಒಂದು ಯೋಚನೆ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಹೋಗೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಕಾರಣ ಡೆಫಿನೆಟ್ಲಿ ಅದೇ. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಐ ನೆವರ್ ಎವರ್ ಥಾಟ್ ಆಕ್ಟ್ರೆಸ್ ಫೀಲ್ಡ್ ಹೇಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಐ ವಾಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಪ್ರಿಪೇರ್ಡ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಫ್ರ್ಯಾಂಕ್. ಆಕ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಕೂಡ ನನಗೆ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ ಇನಿಷಿಯಲ್ ಡೇಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ, ಅಂಡ್ ಐ ವಾಸ್ ಬೇರೆ
Accidental actress.
yeah
I mistake you.
unexpected. This is completely unexpected journey of mine. I still can't believe that I still
What
surviving
we
this.
could tell our students is that you all stand a chance now to become great actors and actresses. Like you really do not need to come from a celebrity family background to cut it into, sandalwood or Tollywood or
Well, I don't believe in that. You should have celebrity film background or something like that. I think it's enough if you aim something, then definitely you can. But this was like kind of my mother's wish. She wanted me to be in this field, and she wanted me to continue this field. This was my passion when I took up, but now this is my complete profession.
it's become a career.
Yeah, it's my profession.
Right. ಬೆಳ್ಳಗಾಗಿರೋದೆಲ್ಲ ಹಾಲಲ್ಲ, ಹೊಳೆಯೋದೆಲ್ಲ ಚಿನ್ನ ಅಲ್ಲ. You understood? This is a Kannada saying, literally translated into English. All that glitters is not gold. Celebrity status is very appealing, not only to the younger generation sitting here, but also for grown-ups like us. We get enamored by the kind of celebrity lifestyle that they lead. What is your reality that you are experiencing? Is it really all fun and frolic, or is it sometimes the losses far outweigh the gains, or is there a middle ground that you need to take? Because it's a short-lived career. At the most, you have like 10 years where you can be a protagonist or the star player or the hero or the heroine, or maybe the anti-hero. But after a while, you'll have to start playing side roles, supporting roles. So there is some kind of planning you need to do, because this is not exactly a long-term career. So what is your take on this? What would you suggest, some of our students are looking into a career this time?
So definitely yes, it is. We have very short time here to just prove whatever we have. Still, even though you are successful or whatever you are, so it matters. For especially girls, maybe 10 years or max to max 15 years. So I think you have to have a different profession from this. So it is kind of an alternative one. So
Backup profession.
Yeah, backup profession is very important.
Plan B
Would be a good. Still, we don't know what next.
Correct.
Nobody knows. So ನನ್ನ plan is nothing but say I just go with the flow always. So with the flow, I believe something that you have to give your 100% in whatever you do. So simultaneously while ಇದ್ರ ಜೊತೆನೆ I have my fashion backup, like fashion industry, which I'm running currently. So
What is your fashion line promote?
it's
Kind
like
of
it,
business?
definitely you can think that everybody knows that I'm a kind of fashionista. So everybody likes me from being stylish and icon. They have mentioned our
Kind of a consultancy and
yeah. So if now ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರೋದನ್ನ I just made it till ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ next level ತಗೊಂಡು ಹೋಗಿ ನನ್ನ passion ಕೂಡ involve ಮಾಡಿ
you want to expand that
yes
line.
and I want to run that show for a long time like which is also involved film my profession, my career, and also which helps me to grow, in future, and also which gives me something good piece of work. Yeah.
Satisfying piece. Okay. So how do you choose these assignments that come your way? Do you wait for the right role that gives you an opportunity to essentially portray your values and principles? Or is it like, Palige Bandadu Panchamrita, do the best with whatever comes your way? Or, you would like to separate your personal stand from the roles that you portray. Sometimes you don't agree to the role that you're portraying, but then since it's a job, it's just a
So
job.
mixed. To be frank, ಎಲ್ಲ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲೂ ಎಲ್ಲಾನು ಸಿಗಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಎಲ್ಲ ಟೈಮ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. ಸಮ್ಟೈಮ್ಸ್ ಬಂದಿರೋದನ್ನ ಅಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲವೊಂದನ್ನ ಅಚೀವ್ ಮಾಡಿರೋದು ಉಂಟು. ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ನಾಗಿನಿ ವಾಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಮೈ ಕಪ್ ಆಫ್ ಟೀ ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಬೇಡ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದೆ. ಅಂಡ್ ಐ ಸೆಡ್ ನೋ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಐ ಹ್ಯಾಡ್ ಅ ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್ ಪ್ಲಾನ್, ಲೈಕ್ ಸಿನಿಮಾ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಆ ಥರ ಎಲ್ಲ ಪ್ಲಾನ್ ಇತ್ತು. ಬಟ್ ಐ ವಾಸ್ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಟು ಡೂ ನಾಗಿನಿ. ದೆನ್ ಐ ಥಾಟ್ ನೋ, ಇದು ಬಂದಿದ್ದು ಒಳ್ಳೇದಾಯ್ತು ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಸೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಶುರುವಾಯ್ತು. ಅಂಡ್ ಸೇಮ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ ಬಿಗ್ ಬಾಸ್ ಕೂಡ ನಮಗೆ ಇಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ಪೋಸ್ಟ್ ಲೈಕ್ 3-4 years ಇಂದ ನನ್ ಕಾಲ್ ಬರ್ತಾನೆ ಇತ್ತು. ಬಟ್ ನನ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗೋದಿಕ್ಕೆ ಇಷ್ಟ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಐ ಆಮ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಈ ಗಾಸಿಪ್ಸ್ ಅದರಿಂದ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ದೂರ ಇರುವಂತ. ಅಂಡ್ ನಾನು ಆ ಮನೆ ಫಿಟ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಯಾರ ಹತ್ರ ಮಾತಾಡಲ್ಲ. ಸ್ಟಿಲ್ ಐ ಆಮ್ ವೆರಿ ಸಾರಿ, ನನ್ಗೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಮಾತಾಡಿ ಅಭ್ಯಾಸ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಬಟ್ ಕೇಳಿದಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದ್ ವರ್ಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಭ್ಯಾಸ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಹೇಳೋದು ಕಷ್ಟ ಆಗತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಈ ತರ ಇದ್ದಂತ ಸಿಚುವೇಶನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಎರಡು ನನ್ನ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್, ನನಗೆ ಪರ್ಸನಲಿ ಒಂದು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೀರಿಯನ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರುವಂತದ್ದು ಈ ಎರಡು ಶೋಸ್ಗಳು. ಸೊ ಐ ಬಿಲೀವ್ ಏನ್ ಬಂದ್ರು ಅದನ್ನ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಮಾಡಿ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಪ್ರೂವ್ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಡೂ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ನಾನು ಅದನ್ನ ಕಲ್ತ್ಕೊಂಡಿದೀನಿ. ಸರ್ಟನ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಫಿಲ್ಮ್ಸ್, ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಲೈಕ್, ನೀವೇನೋ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಏಮ್ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಏನು ಮಾಡಕ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ನೋದು ದಟ್ಸ್ ಟ್ರೂ. ಸೊ ಏಮ್ ನ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಈ ಫೀಲ್ಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೋ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ವಿ ಆರ್ ಟ್ರೈಯಿಂಗ್ ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್. ಸೊ ಅದು ಕೂಡ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್. ಎವ್ರಿ ಟೈಮ್ ಯು ಕಾಂಟ್ ಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ಆನ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ. ಇಟ್ಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಪಾಸಿಬಲ್. ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಗೋ ಅಂಡ್ ಸರ್ಚ್, ಹುಡುಕ್ಬೇಕು, ನೀವು ಅದನ್ನ ಎಕ್ಸಿಕ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ಐ ಬಿಲೀವ್ ಇನ್ ದಟ್ ಬೋತ್. ಸಮಟೈಮ್ಸ್ ಇಟ್ ವರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ದಿಸ್, ಈ ಕಡೆ ಕೆಲವು ಟೈಮ್ ಈ ತರನು ವರ್ಕ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಮೈ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್
ವೇರ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟೆಡ್, ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕಿದ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ shine ಆಗ್ಬೇಕು.
every time, sometimes. So that is one part, and sometimes you have to go looking for something opportunity doesn't knock.
Opportunities do not come. I even have a couple of students who were doing roles in movies on a per day basis as part of a crowd and things like that. So maybe sometimes that is also a stepping stone. Sometimes big opportunities come your way. Sometimes you have to take those small steps in the beginning, way smaller roles, and then you will get noticed. If you remember, Deepika Padukone was just a part of a dance team. She was just a background dancer, and now she's acted in several movies. So it's not always that you get good opportunities, but I think when you have to choose, sometimes, like I said, the big break does not come just like that. Your hard work has to be noticed. Your commitment levels have to be, noticed by the big players in that respective field. And I think that is the way to go. Right? Exactly. Thank you. Now, shall we have a rapid fire round with her? All right. How many seconds shall we give her to answer the question? 10 seconds. All right. You'll keep time, right? Yeah. Of the following, to which of these do you attribute as a main factor that you helped you establish yourself as an actress and be successful at that? 1, hard work. 2, family support. 3, celebrity connections. 4, luck.
Hard work.
Hard work.
Yes.
Excellent. That was my choice also. Though I'm not in that field. And
No, I have to say this. Luck, to be frank, I don't believe in luck. Luck comes when there is hard work, when you put good effort, when you do right time, right situation, and the right thing happens in only right place. So I believe in hard work very much.
Absolutely. Luck is basically, opportunity coming to a prepared mind. If you are prepared and the opportunity comes your way and you think you're lucky, well, no, it's the consequence of all your hard work. And family support, you all know, plenty of, family support, and still they do not make it. We have many, many, celebrity kids who really do not make it in the tinsel town. All right, there has to be a lot of hard work, a lot of practice and training that goes into it. And same goes with the celebrity connections. So all that is required is hard work. So all of you are eligible for this profession. All right, next question. If you get an opportunity to be cast in a remake in Kannada, which role would you choose? 1. Vidya Balan in Silk. 2. Sridevi in Nagin. 3. Hema Malini in Sholay.
Nagini, Sridevi ma'am.
I thought she will go with the majority audience poll.
No, but I have that connection with Nagini, and also I'm a big fan of Sridevi ma'am. So obviously Sridevi ma'am.
I had a hunch that it would be Nagin because she's already portrayed that role, and a reluctant actress at that for that particular role. But once she did it, like she was so popular that I think for the second season on popular demand, they called her back for a couple of episodes. So she's done that role well, and I think she deserves a round of applause for that.
Thank you.
Which one brought the best out of you, like your personality? When did the best come out of you? A. Inside Big Boss house. 2. Outside Big Boss house. Tricky question. 10 seconds.
10 seconds. Okay. I can say before Big Boss, when I was in Big Boss, and also after Big Boss.
Excellent answer. Correct, because these are different playing fields. In the Big Boss, like you're monitored all the time, so it is like being under constant vigil. So you are at your best at all the time. So that is something different you do then. That's good. Okay. What about your confidence level? When was it best? Before Big Boss, after Big Boss?
What do you think?
10 seconds.
What do you
You can help her.
Any guesses? No. I must say both the ways, like
Excellent. Yeah.
obviously my confidence level is always up. Like that is my key
But I
to
think
success.
the ecosystem of a Big Boss house where you are living with strangers over extended period of time, limited resources, and constantly under vigil brings
That is more
a-
tricky, to be frank.
Yes,
That is more
yes.
tricky.
Right. Thank you. Next question. If you can turn the clock back by 10 to 15 years, which profession would you choose? A. Acting career. 2. Any other profession.
Exactly. Pilot. Any other.
Pilot.
So that pilot.
So if you have a chance to turn the clock back,
I'll be a pilot.
you're okay with, you would
pilot.
prefer to be a pilot? Wow,
Yes.
great. So you see guys, sometimes after you get into the acting career, you may in hindsight think, okay, maybe pilot career would have been
I
better.
still have Adundu in it. I have that wish.
Flying.
No, at least in movies I have to be a pilot.
Part of the dream will come true. Okay, one last question. Who would you like to emulate from the experiences that you're gathering from your acting profession now? Who would you like to emulate in the future? A. Sonu Sood. 2. Jayalalitha. 3. Any other.
I'll go with any other. That is, I want to mention the name. She is from Karnataka, obviously. Sudha Murthy ma'am. She is
Excellent choice. Excellent choice. I mean, she is one person I think we all admire. She is not exactly in the shadow of her husband. She has her own illustrious career and hobbies, which has made a name for herself. I think, yeah, many of us can use her as our role model too. That's an excellent choice. Thank you so much. So that indeed was a thought-provoking session there. There is so much to take home for us today. The main takeaway I would say is that if you put hard work ahead of everything else, perseverance, commitment, and resilience, there is no stopping you. And dear students, when you march ahead and out of the portals of this magnificent institution as men and women for others, remember that whatever you do will be for the greater glory of God. Thank you all. God bless. Can we have a round of applause for her? Thank you so much. She will now sign the open heart memento that we have here.
Beauty with brains. Ma'am, you've proved your way in what we understand the difficult industry, especially for women to work. And definitely you have been an inspiration for our students today. We wish you all the best in all your future endeavors, and may you soar very high in your career and also soar the skies someday as a pilot. Blessings and good wishes to you, and Joyce ma'am for excellently taking the session, moderating it so well with your questions. Let's give them both a big hand, students. I'd like to call upon our Vice Principal, Dr. Rabai, and our Registrar, Dr. Melvin, to please come forward and felicitate our guests. Please don't leave the auditorium. We are not done yet. Thank you.
Requesting the audience to stay put. We have a dance performance coming up. Please stay tuned.
standing right here and witnessing this event, being as successful as it is, I'd like to thank Father Principal, Father Rector, Registrar, the Vice Principal, and all the faculty members for their constant support. And I'd like to thank our speakers and moderators for the event this year. But before I thank my team, can I have Subhash playing the video? Subhash.
I think we will be
Good things, good things, good things. All we need good things, good things, good things. Till we go on and on. We don't tell me to go. Yeah, we are going home tonight. Ain't nobody know my heart. Don't tell me to go. Yeah, we are never ever going home.
What a day. So where do I start? Art and decor, sponsorship, registration, security, I have no clue. It's all just success today what I see. We had 400 marks today. It got over at 2:30 today. We were expecting people to come after 3, somewhere like that. We had so many fumbles. From morning we had power cuts. We had to get the fuel for the generator all by ourselves. We had to move the sand from the auditorium. We had so much more to do. But still, I like the team. I'd like to thank everyone, starting from Aryaman, Ishita, John, Vineet, Israr, everyone there. Especially John. Where's John? Is John here? Can I have John stand up, please? So John has been here 3 years with us. Irrespective of any certificates, t-shirts, he just worked for the event. That's one story we're going to be sharing this year. Then we have Ishita and Vineet handling registration from past 2 years. They've done a splendid job from code protocols, sending mails to people. Close to 1,000 plus mails have been sent in 2 days' time. Great round of applause for them, guys. Then we have our R&D team. Israr working his ass off, getting the speaker lined up for today. Okay. Then at last, I'd like to thank my assistant convener who almost resigned last week because he didn't get a confirmation mail from Narayan Murthy because of Kiran sir. So I don't know how to end this. I still don't believe that it's over this year. I don't know how to give my thanks. A special thanks to the audience for making it what it is today. I have no clue what to do now. Should I go home or should I continue working for Open Heart? I have no clue. These 2 months was so good. From sponsorship running behind the manager, running behind the finance officer, talking to Jimmy Anna, getting the mic set up, everything. It's been a great journey. So today morning I read a quote. They said, the best views come from the hardest climbs. Oh, trust me, this has been one climb. If I'm going to pass out today, I'm going to get up on Monday morning. That's for sure. So thank you all for coming here. What do I say now? Thank you. Okay, thank you guys. Oh yeah, he's not present here. We want to thank Kiran Jeevan sir. And before that, I'd like to thank all our former members of Open. There's a big list, but I'm going to complete everyone. I'll make sure I get everyone's name right. So I guess I'm going to start off with Rahul Bhai. He's always been there for us. Mayuk Sen, Ujjwal, Shakti, Satya, Shreyas, they're all here with us. Ayushi, Gagan, Sonika, they all helped us through from day one, even after they left college. I don't know what to say to these people. They've created Open Heart and we placed it for them. I don't know if I lived up to your mark, but I hope I did my best this year. Okay, thank you guys. I won't keep you long for now. Now you guys have refreshments waiting outside. You are sponsored by Fully Divine. You'll get a brownie and a fruity, hopefully one for each. Let's not be greedy. Let everyone get one. Thank you guys.
Okay, students, truly success and teamwork. Shoaib, the man of the moment with his team. Let's give it up to them.